Adam Levine reveals The Voice co-star Blake Shelton's $5,000 prank. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a nice day. Before we begin the video, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Adam Levine recently revealed the $5,000 prank Blake Shelton pulled on him when they were both coaches on The Voice, and the country singer never paid back the Maroon 5 frontman either. On the July 3rd episode of the Hot Ones podcast, the She Will Be Loved crooner detailed the expensive prank involving a teacup pig. The breed of swine doesn't actually exist, but some breeders use the term to mislead people into buying pot-bellied pigs that are underfed but can actually become hundreds of pounds. My now wife, then brand new girlfriend Behati Prinsloo, she said she really wanted a teacup pig, and I didn't know what that was, Levine recounted to host Sean Evans. So I asked Blake, I'm like, what's a teacup pig? He's like, I'll get you a teacup pig. Yeah, give me $5 grand. He then issued a blunt PSA, warning others, please don't get a pig. They scream and squeal if you don't pay attention to them. They scream and squeal if you do. After 3 weeks, he and Prinsloo rehomed the animal. We had to give it to a little girl on a farm, Levine explained. We're like, send us pictures. We can't wait to not be responsible for this animal anymore. Just show us pictures. The girl sent them a photo about 6 months later, and the pig was like 400 pounds. I'm like, dude, what if this animal had grown to be this big in my house? Levine pointed out. Ultimately, Levine spoke to Shelton about the size of the teacup pig, and the Austin singer revealed the truth. I'm just, like, Blake, bro, $5,000 for a pig that wasn't a micro pig, Levine told Evans. And he's like, you're an idiot. There's no such thing as F***ing teacup pigs, you dumba. So that was a pretty good prank that he played on me. On top of it all, Shelton did not refund Levine his money. The frenemies served as coaches on The Voice together. Levine for seasons 1 to 16 and 27, and Shelton for the first 23 seasons. Adam Levine is no stranger to a good laugh, but even he had to admit he was caught completely off guard by one particular prank courtesy of his longtime frenemy and former co-star on The Voice, Blake Shelton. During a recent podcast appearance, Adam took fans behind the scenes of their iconic run on the show, and in doing so, he finally revealed the full story behind a $5,000 prank that Blake orchestrated at his expense. It all started innocently enough, as many of their legendary antics did, but what unfolded was the kind of elaborate and over-the-top joke only someone like Blake Shelton could pull off. Adam, who appeared relaxed and reflective during the interview, chuckled as he began recounting the prank, saying Blake was always the kind of guy who'd never let you have the last laugh. If you got him once, you better believe he was coming back twice as hard. What I didn't expect was how far he'd go and how much he was willing to spend to get even, Adam said. It began during a break in filming one of the earlier seasons of The Voice. The coaches had a bit of downtime between tapings, and Blake was uncharacteristically quiet. Apparently he had been plotting his revenge for an off-camera joke Adam had played on him a few weeks earlier. Adam confessed he had hired a mariachi band to follow Blake around all day during a press junket, and the footage had gone viral with fans howling at Blake's visibly annoyed reaction. Blake had laughed it off publicly, but behind the scenes he had started planning the perfect way to turn the tables. According to Adam, the moment of reckoning came one morning when he arrived on set and found his entire dressing room transformed. And not just a minor decoration tweak, the room had been completely overhauled. The walls were painted bright pink, everything was covered in glitter. There were cutouts of unicorns' hearts and sparkles everywhere. The word Devo was spelled out in massive rhinestones across his mirror. The furniture had been replaced with oversized dollhouse chairs, and his wardrobe had been switched with outrageous costumes that looked like they came from a Vegas cabaret show. Adam at first thought it was a production error until he saw a framed photo of Blake Shelton wearing a tiara proudly displayed on the dressing table. Adam started laughing uncontrollably. He said, but that was only the beginning. The real kicker came when production informed him that the entire dressing room makeover cost $5,000, and that Blake had not only paid for it himself, but had left a note saying, enjoy your upgrade, rockstar, love, Blakey. P.S. Glitter doesn't come off easily. Adam said it took him weeks to get the glitter out of his clothes, and even longer to get back at Blake. He joked that the worst part wasn't the cost or the embarrassment. It was the fact that everyone on set thought it was the most epic prank they'd ever seen, and that Blake had officially won their ongoing war of pranks. The story quickly made waves online, with fans delighted to hear more about the behind-the-scenes camaraderie and chaos between two of The Voice's most beloved stars. Blake's playful spirit has always been part of his appeal, but this prank showcased just how far he was willing to go to make a point and entertain not just his fellow coaches but the entire production crew. Adam admitted that the prank solidified Blake's title as king of the backstage antics, and said he couldn't even be mad because the level of commitment and attention to detail was simply admirable. The glitter, the costumes, the chairs, it was all so extra and so Blake, he said. I mean, who spends $5,000 just to make a joke? That's the kind of energy that made the show so much fun. Adam went on to say that those moments, the laughter, the surprises, and the insane over-the-top gestures were what made the Voice experience so unforgettable. He and Blake may have gone head-to-head on many things musically and personally, but at the end of the day, it was all rooted in genuine affection and mutual respect. They knew how to push each other's buttons, but it was always good fun and, with the sole purpose of keeping things light and entertaining for everyone involved. Fans who have followed their relationship over the years know that Adam and Blake's bromance was one of the central charms of The Voice. They bickered, joked, teased, and even got emotional with one another, and the $5,000 prank is now being hailed as one of the greatest stories to come out of their time on the show. Social media was flooded with reactions, many users praising the duo's chemistry and calling for a special reunion episode that brings them back together, just to prank each other again. Adam also revealed that the prank wasn't just a private joke, it had ripple effects across the entire production. He said the crew had to help clean up the mess, and for weeks after everyone was slightly nervous about what might happen next, it became a kind of Cold War backstage. Everyone knew a retaliation was coming, they just didn't know when or how. Adam said he eventually got back at Blake in a subtle way. He didn't spend $5,000, but he did arrange for Blake's tour bus to be filled with cardboard cutouts of himself wearing outrageous outfits from their Voice days. It wasn't as grand as the glitter explosion, but it got the point across and kept the spirit of their feud alive. Despite both men having since moved on from the show, they clearly look back on it with affection. Adam said the prank reminded him why working with Blake was always unpredictable and hilarious. You just never knew what that guy was going to do next. He could go from serious to outrageous in 5 seconds flat, and that kept everyone on their toes. When asked if he'd consider returning to the show, Adam didn't say no, but he made it clear that if Blake ever came back, he'd have to be ready because the prank war would resume immediately. I'm not going to forget the glitter room anytime soon, and if we ever reunite, Blake better keep one eye open at all times, he joked. The story also sparked a wave of nostalgia for fans of the earlier seasons of The Voice, many of whom said the show hasn't quite felt the same since Adam and Blake left. Their dynamic was electric and unpredictable, and the behind-the-scenes stories, like this one, only added to their legend. The glitter prank is now being talked about as a definitive moment in the legacy of The Voice, a symbol of how the show was never just about competition but about connection, humor, and the unique personalities that made it unforgettable. Industry insiders have also weighed in, praising the authenticity of Adam and Blake's friendship and saying that stories like this are exactly what the entertainment world needs more of in a time where so much of showbiz feels scripted and polished. Their raw, genuine brotherhood was a breath of fresh air, and their pranks were just an extension of that authenticity. Adam ended the interview with a grin, saying he still occasionally finds glitter in random places to this day, and every time he thinks of Blake and laughs, and that's probably exactly what Blake wanted. The prank may have cost $5,000, but the memory was priceless for Adam, and for fans who are now begging for more stories just like it in an industry often filled with egos and silence. Their ongoing prank war was a refreshing reminder that the best kind of competition is the kind filled with laughter, ridiculousness, and a healthy dose of glitter. As for what's next, Adam teased he has a few tricks up his sleeve, and if Blake ever thinks the war is over, he's got another thing coming. Their rivalry may have started on television, but it clearly lives on in spirit and in sparkles, and if Adam has his way, the next round might just be even more unforgettable.